That out of the way. All right. Let's see if we are live. Looks like we should be. All right. We are live. It is Friday, September 5th, 2025 at 5:05 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Here we are in Fallout 4. All right, let's do some quick announcements and then we'll talk about some of the news of the week and stuff like that. So, I actually have finished the script and audio recording for two Fallout New Vegas lore videos, and I've just been working on putting them together. Hey, Daddy Dante, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Hope you had a good week. So the two videos are covering Cass, and the other one is covering Mojave Outpost. Now, again, these are both the script and the audio are both done. The first video, the Cass video, is 27 minutes long. The Mojave Outpost video is 16, 17, something. I can't remember the exact length off the top of my head. Regardless, that stuff is done, and I'm actually working on. Well, last night I just got into this just now. Was working on putting the videos together. It's still got a ways to go, but I'm hoping to have that one out tomorrow. So we'll see exactly what happens, but I'm thinking tomorrow afternoon that first video will be out, and then I think I should hopefully be able to get the Mojave Outpost video out by Monday. So that's what I'm hoping to do this weekend, is get those two videos out. The reason I'm in here is because I was filming footage of caravans, and specifically we got this one right over here. That's why I was in here. I was trying to get footage of Brahmin caravans, because it doesn't really matter what game it's from. Specifically, I was just talking about Brahmin caravans within the Fallout universe. So, anyway, though, after that, we'll be moving on to Fallout 4. And let me actually look at the topics, because I know I checked this earlier today, the Patreon votes, but I haven't checked the Discord votes lately for this. So let's see, next lore video. That's the wrong subreddit. Discord. Let's see. There it is. Okay, so far, what's currently winning is Wilson Automatoys and the Suffolk County Charter School system. Suffolk County Charter School. So those are the two topics that it looks like I'll be covering, unless any more votes come in there. Wilson Automatoys, of course, the manufacturer of the Giddy Up Buttercup. And then the Suffolk County Charter School, of course, being the place where they've got all the pink ghouls, because they were working on creating that pink paste, like a food substitute they were eating there at the school. That seems to have increased aggression and stuff like that. Of course, with Wilson Automatoys, you also have the story of how the company was becoming a military contractor, how the founder was disgusted by that because his whole thing was just he wanted to make toys. But anyway, so that's what you got to look forward to for the rest of September once I finish those two videos. In terms of other news that has come out this week, we got a 2-year anniversary video on, Starfield. And they basically seem to have teased the name of the next DLC, or maybe it's just the next big patch, I don't know. I'm hoping it's basically them teasing the DLC, and it looks like the name will be Terran Armada. So that could mean one of many things. I've seen people online speculate potentially that they're talking about the Terran Society. I can't remember the exact name of it, but basically the group that meets once a year to commemorate the fall of Earth, basically as like a way to try to like raise funds for preserving Earth or something. I can't remember the exact reason they're doing it. They pop up in the Crimson Fleet quest line. Now, along with that, I've had people speculate that it's something about like something having to do with Earth in Starfield, maybe fixing things there. I don't know. Personally, I've also speculated that it could be something with basically an outside threat coming in to invade the settled systems, and it could be that the Terran Armada is a combination of a fleet of the UC and the FC, the United Colonies and the Freestar Collective, coming together to fight against these invaders, which would make sense to me. I've also considered it could be some sort of expeditionary force, the Terran Armada moving into a new sector of the galaxy. So I don't know what it's going to be. I'm excited, though, because I'm glad we're finally getting a little bit more information out of them. I want to hear more, but we'll see what comes with that. Now, I have not experimented with them yet myself, but I have seen that there is a lot of interesting stuff about the fixing the build system, the camp building system in Fallout 76. Basically making it a lot easier to use and stuff like that. So good stuff on that front. I'm going to go check out what this fire is, because I think that might be the Institute, but I don't know. I can't remember if that's where this character is. That doesn't seem right. Anyway, so I hope you all are having a good week. What have I done this week other than working on the videos? Obviously, my brother-in-law gave me a his old grill slash smoker. It's this interesting ceramic egg thing. I spent some time this afternoon cleaning it off after I got home from work. What else? Oh yeah, still working on the car. Had some serious issues there. In fact, it's looking like I'm going to have to get much more into car maintenance because I don't have the money right now to buy a new car, especially with how expensive cars are right now. So basically what I'm doing is learning how to repair cars through YouTube, which has actually worked for me in the past. And I'm going to be replacing this car's water pump and head gasket, which has been leaking. So the head gasket is really going to be the interesting one. The water pump, I've been dreading the concept of doing it because I'm going to have to take the belt, the timing belt off the car in order to do it. Which has always just been like a dreadful concept to me, but I'm going to figure it out. And then along with that, seriously, what is this fire? I don't remember this. Anyway, along with that, then the head gasket means I'm basically going to have to take the entire top part of my engine apart. But car's not working right now anyway, so that's hopefully something that'll fix it, and I'll hopefully be able to figure it out through the use of the internet. So, other than that, though, again, most of my time has been spent working on the videos on Fallout New Vegas, again, Cass and the Mojave Outpost. Two topics that actually overlap quite a bit, obviously because Cass is hanging out at the Mojave Outpost when you first find her in the game. But I also talk about all the other quests that can bring you through there, like My Kind of Town, where you're working for the people of Primm to try to find a new sheriff for them, basically as like an aftermath of cleaning up the convicts. Also talking about just all the Cass quests, obviously, but then there's also Cold Cold Heart, which is the quest you get from Vulpes and Colta to spread the news of the Legion's sacking of Nipton, and then also the quest Can You Find It in Your Heart, and all these other little ones. It's always fun when you deal with the fact that seriously, I'm wondering what this is. Anyway, when you deal with the aftermath of what's been going on in the Mojave. I do not recognize this, and this feels weird. Anyway, what else? It's going to be good to get back into Fallout 4. Last thing I covered here was Covenant, which was after covering the Gunners, which, of course, Covenant being right over there. And then after that, get back into Fallout 76. I have no idea even what topics I'm going to cover in Fallout 76 at this point. It's going to be really interesting to find out what people want to see covered. But then back to Starfield again after that. Just in time to finish it up so I can get into watching the Fallout TV show. December 17th, I believe, is the one that comes out. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on there. What they've come up with for the storylines and all that. What am I... Okay, let me take a look at the... Man, Did I destroy the... Oh, is that the destroyed Prydwen? Maybe? I don't know. This is interesting. Because it's one of those things where I was going through all the characters until I could find the one where I had a caravan currently going through Sanctuary at the time, so I could film that. So I have no idea what this character was last doing. I do have the synth companion X688, so it's entirely possible this is post-destruction of the Prydwen. And I've just never seen that before, like coming across the map at me. But yeah. So yeah, auto maintenance and video production. I've also been working on another project, but as I've said in the past, I'm not going to talk about that one just yet. Let's see, what's going on? Okay, can I cross this, or am I going to need to kind of cheat my way up here? Looks like I'm going to have to cheat my way up here a little bit. Wait, now I need a clip. There we go. BOS just annoy you, second to the NCR. Yeah. Well, again, I've said in the past, the BOS there have been many incarnations of the Brotherhood of Steel over time. I think this is the Crash Prydwen, by the way, because I don't know what else this would be. I don't remember ever seeing this before. The fact that you can see it from Sanctuary, basically, is nuts. But anyway, the incarnation of the Brotherhood of Steel within Fallout 3, Lions Brotherhood of Steel is a good group. The Incarnation of the Brotherhood of Steel under Paladin Romani is also a good group. There are those purists out there that try to claim that it's like, oh no, those aren't really the Brotherhood of Steel. It's like, maybe. But at the end of the day, when it comes right down to it, the Brotherhood of Steel makes the most sense to me when it's both trying to preserve technology and save people's lives. Because, like, otherwise, people don't have any reason to support it otherwise, you know? It's like, why, just because these people tell you they need help getting access to technology, you're supposed to start handing over guns and ammo to them? Why would that make any sense? If they're there to help save your life, absolutely, then you help them out, but not just something you do just because. Yeah, that is definitely the Pridwin. Man. Again, I've only ever done the Institute ending one time, so I was not expecting this. And I've never done the Railroad ending. I've done 2 endings now. And specifically, I've always... Well, actually, no, have I done the Brotherhood ending? I don't remember. But I know I have pushed my way through the Minutemen ending before. But I have also done it to where I don't end up destroying the other organizations. Including the Pridwin itself. It's definitely going to be interesting to see if we get to see... Elder Maxon, Arthur Maxon within the show. It's going to be the whole thing. It's one of the things I'm always cautiously optimistic about this stuff because it's always something where they could easily screw the lore up really badly, but at the same time, it's like I love the production design. They do such great work making things look right. It's just a question of, is the story going to make coherent sense with the rest of the universe? But yeah, the whole thing where it looks like there's like at least 4 airships, when the original lore for the Pridwin, I believe, was that they only could build one effectively because they had to use the materials they scavenged from the Enclave crawler within Andrews Air Force Base. Or Adams Air Force Base, I should say. I think Andrews is the real one. Adams is the fictional one. Sorry, I just got a notification on my watch. Yep. Man, oh man, that looks like a crashed Zeppelin. Am I going to burn up if I go in here? Wow. Huh? Look at that. You know, it's kind of crazy because this is one of those things where, yeah, Hindenburg Tribute Act. This is something that you're almost not expecting the player to see, really, because this is one of those things where it's like it's a post-ending location. Yeah, I'm going to pull back a little bit because it's a little too close. This is a post-ending location because effectively once you've destroyed the airship, or once you've destroyed the Institute, you know, you're basically done with the game. So they've created, like, obviously you can keep playing. Yes, you can do all kinds of Radiant quests. You can finish up secondary quests that you haven't completely done. But once you've done this stuff, you've effectively finished the main game. So the fact that they put as much effort as they did into this is impressive. Because they definitely had to create the entire mesh of the crashed airship just for this. But at the same time, it's also like, what would you do? Like, what would they do if they didn't have something like this here, and they still let you keep playing the game? They'd almost have to, like, block the entire site out, surround it with a giant fence or something. But then again, they've already got the jetpack and stuff like that, so any invisible wall would just be ridiculous. Let's see if we can see anything around this side. Man. That's a pretty good effect. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but it's something where it's like, it's not bad. It's obviously a little more ridiculous down here at ground level, but the smoke itself, and especially from a distance, this looked pretty good. Oh man, it is so freaking hot outside. I again when I was cleaning that grill my brother-in-law gave me, it's like 100 degrees out there, 102, something like that. Oh, apparently that's too close. I was gonna see if I could find any more dead Brotherhood members in here, because you do kill a lot of them in the process of attacking the airport. I just didn't know if that was gonna be the case here. Can't keep... Yeah, no, that's... Yeah. The nice thing about New Vegas is that they do give you very extensive aftermath cinematics, basically the whole thing where it tells you what happened to all the characters and stuff like that. But yeah, it is a bit frustrating that you can't go ahead and continue to explore the place after the end. That was, of course, the way it was originally with Fallout 3. If you played it pre-Broken Steel being a thing, effectively you would go in, activate the reactor, and you would die. And another reactor inside the purifier. And it was this kind of frustrating thing, too, where you would have Fox with you. And it's like, go in and do that. It's like, oh, what a coward. It's like, Foxit can go in and activate that thing with no risk to himself. How is that cowardice to have someone who is adapted to such a situation go in and do it? It's like, it's just suicide on the opposite side of things. It's like, yeah, if you have, if you got someone who's able to deal with radiation and have no ill effect come to them, then obviously that's their job. Go in and press a switch. Very interesting. Again, this is literally the first time I'm seeing this here. All right. All right, so yeah, again, the two topics we'll be covering here, at least unless anybody else goes in and votes and chooses a different thing, will be currently the Wilson Automatoys, which both has a building downtown. Where is it? Somewhere around here, I think. Let's see. I may not have the fast travel point. No, it's because yeah, it's somewhere in here. And then along with that, there's also the Wilson Automatoys little building that's down here near Jamaica Plain. It's actually closer to Quincy, but this character's apparently not been out that way. So let's go out and find it. But yeah, Wilson Automatoys and the Suffolk County Charter School. I believe that the Suffolk County Charter School and the whole pink paste thing there was an after. This is, sorry, real quick, I was just going to note, this character, I built a whole bunch of stuff using console commands to move things around. And so I've got like all these outposts and stuff where things actually look fairly good in terms of like everything like meshing together and stuff like that. But at the same time, I also had some mods installed to where it's like the stuff disappeared when it took the mods away, and so there are a bunch of beds missing and things like that. Let's see, probably taking do up in the future, videos move away from the vaults, develop the world a bit more. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, but it's one of those things too where I feel like we talked about this a little bit last time, which is what is it that makes a Fallout game? And is it simply setting it within the same universe that does it, or is it certain aspects of the world that have to exist and things like that for it to count? Like, can a game... Do you like my magic hands here where I can shoot plasma just by holding my hands like this? Anyway, if you set it in the same world, but you set it like 200 years after everything gets cleaned up, is it still the Fallout universe? No, I'd say probably not, no. But at the same time, so again, that's not what we're talking about here with what you're saying about moving away from the vaults and stuff like that. But there's a question of, do the vaults basically kind of have to be in there for it to be a Fallout game, right? Characters make Fallout. I don't know. I do think that a lot of it does have to do with the world in which it lives. I don't think that, like, I don't think you have to have the same factions. Like, I don't think that having the Brotherhood of Steel in there is a necessary thing every single time you're playing a Fallout game, for example. Um, but I do think that to a certain extent, some of it does come down to the way the world is. It's the same sort of thing with a lot of universes where it's like you got a lot of like fantasy games set in this world where it's like if the technology advanced a bit too much, it's not really like you're really playing that fantasy game anymore, you know? It's like if you were playing Elder Scrolls, but it was set in basically modern times where there's still magic and stuff like that, but there's office buildings instead of castles and stuff like that. It doesn't feel like the same sort of world. There was actually I've read this before. I don't know if it's true, but what I've read is that the initial concept for Warcraft 2, which if you never played it, the first Warcraft was originally, it came out in like 94, I think it was. And then Warcraft 2 came out, I think, in 96, but I can't remember if that's true or not. Regardless, the first one was Warcraft, Orcs and Humans, and it dealt with the orc invasion of the Kingdom of Azeroth, is what they called it at the time, which eventually became the Kingdom of Stormwind by the time that World of Warcraft became a thing. But regardless, oh wow, that's a lot of stim packs. Regardless, what they were originally thinking with Warcraft 2 was that it was going to be set in the modern age, and that you would have fighter jets fighting dragons. Good lord, that is tearing me apart. And I definitely think that would have been kind of just a disaster for the Warcraft universe to have done that, you know? Basically something where the orcs are defeated in Warcraft 1 and then they come back again in Warcraft 2 centuries later when Azeroth has entered the modern age. And that's what you're dealing with. Which, again, I think that what they did was a lot better. That's Arthas. Arthas Menethil. Son of King Taranis. The King of Lordaeron. Jeez Louise. What the... Oh. Yeah, my synth is down. My Corsair. Yeah, Warcraft was my first, fantasy universe. And again, the reason for that, before it being something like Lord of the Rings or something like that, is I was born in 1990. My dad was really into, he was one of those early adopters of PCs. Jeez Louise. And so I played the first Warcraft when I was like 4 years old. I liked WoW back in the day, but it's yeah, it's been a long time since I've really been into that. Good evening, Not Darwin. Welcome to the stream. Hope you've had a good week. We're here talking currently about what makes a setting, with Daddy Dante contending here that it was the characters that make Fallout, and I'm saying that I do think that the setting. Oh, geez, Louise. The setting of Fallout is actually quite important. It's the same sort of thing where, for example, like, oh, jeez Louise. I've seen this, like, specific point made online, and you may not get it unless you actually like the Warhammer 40k unit. Oh my good lord, what is this gun this guy's using? Am I just, like... Do I not have any damage resistance or anything? What's going on here? 30. I don't know well enough whether or not that's good or bad. What am I actually wearing though? Let's see here. If you don't know the Warhammer 40k universe, okay, that's probably why, because I'm only wearing the Colonel's uniform is apparently okay. We'll wear that. Anyway, although hold up, he's firing. Yeah, that's a ballistic gun. The 40k universe. The post I've seen made before is, if you like the 40k universe, you love the character Erebus, which Erebus is basically the character that leads to the downfall of everything in the end. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you love if you love the Imperium, you hate Erebus. If you love the setting, you have to love Erebus. Because without Erebus, you wouldn't have the Warhammer 40k setting, because there'd be like no reason for it. So setting is important for the feeling. Characters are for the narrative. Yep. Yeah, that's a good point. Basically, if you don't have good enough characters, you're not going to be able to create a narrative where people are going to care. But at the same time, also, do I have that? No, I don't have the ID card for that. Can't remember. I think that ID card you get out of the actual office building. But yeah, the set, like I do think that what makes the feel of the game a lot, the feel of the world is the setting. I wouldn't say he's his own guy. Works for the what's it called? For the adversary. Works for the gods of chaos. Trying to remember what the ruinous powers. That's the term I was looking for. It is a really interesting setting if you have not gotten into the 40k stuff. It's about a year since one of my coworkers got me into it, and it's such an interesting setting, especially when you get to the original purpose of the Imperium was to create a like secular, perfected humanity with no gods and stuff like that. And as everything collapses in on itself during the Horus Heresy, you end up with people worshiping the Emperor of Man, who again was the chief proponent of creating this atheistic society, and he himself becomes the patron god of their religion. Running a Fallout D&D campaign, and the setting does so much heavy lifting and getting my players on the same page. Yep, but different NPCs. Yes, 100%. Now, I also think that so specifically we talked a little bit about Warhammer 40k stuff is really interesting, and I have been enjoying seeing little bits of it bleed out here and there, but it's been getting more popular over the past year or two, especially with people seeing the little bit that came out in the Extra Level series that they did on Amazon Prime. But anyway, so we were talking a little bit before about how you don't. So in terms of the setting, I don't believe you have to have the Brotherhood of Steel in a game, in the Fallout games, in order to make it a Fallout game. And in the same way, I don't think you have to have super mutants in a Fallout game in order to make it a Fallout game. Let's take out that. This is the Raider-held town of Quincy. That's annoying. Is he going to set out the bomb? Apparently not. Okay. Wow. Andor was great for Star Wars show despite the lack of Jedi. Yeah, no, I mean, I thought, oh, I'm out of ammo. What do I got here? Do I have, yeah, I got a little bit of ammo for that. I thought that Rogue One was a great Star Wars movie without the need to have Jedi in it. Like, obviously it has Darth Vader in it at the very end. But other than that, the entire rest of the thing is just, like, military factions. Hello, Tezza. Former Raider turned gunner. Oh. Well, welcome, Patty Flanagan, to the stream. Thank you for becoming a supporter. Yeah, but I thought, again, that Rogue One did an excellent job there. I loved the feeling of the final battle that took place on Scarif. And again, there was no Jedi that were involved in that. There was the guy that was kind of doing some weird stuff where he's like, I'm with the Force is with me. That doesn't really feel like it belongs exactly with the Force stuff, but at the same time, again, I was fine with that. Oh, let's see. Do I have? Yeah, a little more Radaway. This must be one of those characters where I deposit most of the stuff that I'm not currently using, and I must have used up my Radaway for something else recently. Yeah, Andor, I've seen season 1. I need to see season 2, but I'll have to get what's it called? Disney Plus? Yeah, Disney Plus again for a month or two. Basically, what ends up happening anytime I get Disney Plus for like a month or something like that is that I'm almost endlessly watching The Simpsons. Which is dumb because I've got like 14 seasons of it over here on a shelf in DVD form. But at the same time, it's obviously the case that it's way better to watch stuff on streaming than it is to watch stuff on DVD, just for the ease of watching. Constantly having to get up to change the disc out. But at the same time, I'm one of those weirdos that will actually watch the DVD commentary for things like The Simpsons, and it's actually fun to hear the directors of the show and stuff like that in the background. One of my favorite ones is I love King of the Hill too, but The Simpsons is definitely my favorite there. Just got some old Sith series. Yeah, no. Sith are also very interesting. I loved the stuff with the Sith in Star Wars: The Old Republic. Going to Caravan. Ooh, jeez Louise. Oh, okay, that's X688 and a Raider. Where's this turret that's constantly trying to lock onto me? Anyway, the DVD commentaries. It was kind of... I remember one specifically was the one for Homer the Great, I believe it is, where he is working with the Stonecutters, which is basically the Simpsons version of the Masons. And I can't remember who it was. Matt Groening was on the commentary, but there was another one... Matt Reese, maybe? I can't remember. Anyway, it's one of those things where Matt Groening was not just like going along with the conversation that was being had, where it's like they were doing the Stonecutter song where it's who holds back the electric car, who makes Dean Newtonberg a star, and one of the guys doing the commentary was like, oh yeah, we were just basically listing all the things that were making us annoyed, and what is the name of the... sorry, let me give me 1 second, because I'm trying to remember the specific line that Matt Groening was fighting with him on this for. There's a kind of fish. I can't remember the name of the fish, but basically the line is, who robs these fish of their sight? Because I guess the fish are blind. And so Matt Groening was we were annoyed by that kind of fish not having the ability to see. It's like this was not a list of grievances. This was just a funny list of things we were putting together. Ooh. Let's see. Where's this person shooting at me from? But yeah, so again, that's my issue with getting the Disney Plus stuff, is I end up watching The Simpsons too much. But yeah. Ooh. What else? I feel like there's been a little bit more news this month, or this week. Oh yeah, so there was also jeez Louise. There was a release of a new patch new content patch for Helldivers 2. And along with that, there was Silksong that was released. I've never really been a big side-scroller fan. Haven't played any of those since Mario, I don't think. And it's one of those things where it's like, I know there are plenty of good ones there, and I definitely don't in any way denigrate the people that do play them, but it's just never anything that's really appealed to me in a big way. And so yeah, Silksong or whatever. I'm happy for the people that get that, because it's one of those things where it's one of those games that comes off basically the it's never going to happen list. So we can always hope that we see more games come off that list. Things like what's it called? Half-Life 2 Episode 3, for example, or maybe even just Half-Life 3. Been waiting for Half-Life 2 Episode 3 for a long time. But yeah, again, good for you all. Happy you all got that. But what actually interested me a lot more this week was, oh my god, I forgot how radioactive this water is, was the Helldivers 2 patch that brought in subterranean fighting. Oh my gosh, 26 rads. Yeah. It's been great to... I've been amazed kind of with, oh right, they're in the actual underground area here. It's been great to see that Xbox players have really taken to Helldivers 2, which is not even surprising in the slightest. I mean, when you get right down to it, and you've got effectively like a version of ODST to an extent, and they did the legendary War Bond that has all the ODST equipment and guns and stuff in that, and it looks great. Jeez, oh, there I go. Haven't played it, but love it. Yeah, no, that's great. I also really do enjoy that they've got like their Like, I can't remember the name of it. It's like a war commander or something like that, who's constantly basically moving pieces across the chessboard of the bots and the bugs and the squids moving in, doing their thing. Where? Oh, wow. This is before we fast traveled down to Quincy. Oh, well. It's not like we were doing anything down there, really. Just fighting. But yeah. Basically, I've really enjoyed little interviews they've done with him where he's been really happy when he sets things up to fail and people actually come through. But yeah, from what I've seen, Xbox players have actually been getting into Helldivers 2 faster than PlayStation players did. Now, part of that has got to be entirely because Xbox players have been watching people play this game for a long time. I've been wanting to play it, and it's one of those things where it's a known quantity. Whereas when the game first launched on PlayStation, yeah, it looked cool. That had a great trailer and stuff like that, but people hadn't played it yet. You know, people may have played the first one, but the first game and the second game, though they're set in the same setting, are two entirely different forms of game. One of them being played in an isometric style, the other one being played as a third-person shooter. I've never played the first one. I've got one of my coworkers did play it. He also played the Magic version of it, which I hope they do that as well at some point, just because I think that's pretty cool. I think it's... I can't remember what it... Do they call it dwarves? I can't remember. But basically you're playing as like 4 Magic user dwarves, I believe, taking on the same sort of thing where it's like you're going in to fight a bunch of enemies and stuff like that. So it's an interesting concept where it's basically the fantasy version, whereas this is the sci-fi version. And of course, a lot of the sci-fi version being based on the concept of Starship Troopers and stuff like that. Obviously not entirely if you've ever actually read Starship Troopers, because like they've got shoulder-mounted nuclear weapons and stuff like that in Starship Troopers. But at the same time, it's close enough to the actual Starship Troopers movie rather than the Starship Troopers book. So. Oh yeah. Well, that's my thing too, is that yes, PvP exists within Helldivers 2, but it's as friendly fire, which is something that actually hurts the team, and people generally don't do it on purpose. Now, I have seen people do it on purpose when somebody does something stupid enough, or the funny little versions of it where it's like the guy is supposed to be going in and like entering the code to set off a nuke or something like that, and he keeps hitting the wrong button. And so someone shoots him and takes over. Oh god, the other day I was playing with my brother-in-law, and we were in the middle of this massive city fighting bugs, and like I get out of my mech for a second to drop a hell bomb and to set it off, and he drops back into the map and lands directly on top of my mech, blowing it up when it still had like 85% of its ammunition. It was so disappointing. But it was also hilarious, and it's one of those things where it's like all these unintended little crazy things that happen in the game. What is with this fog? Is this runoff from the explosion of the Prydwen, or is this something else? Because this feels like smoke rather than... Yeah, this is definitely smoke, not fog. This is nuts. Also, this has definitely got leftover remnants of me having uninstalled mods at a certain point. You can see the issues going on here. One of the mods that I also have installed in the past, which I definitely like, I hope that this is something that they resolve in the future themselves, because it's really frustrating. I installed a mod that allowed you to remove basically things within camps that you should be able to remove, but they don't allow you to. And in this case, it was this house. The remains of this house here at the County Crossing location. And I removed the house so I could install my own house. But when I removed the mod, the house came back. So it's a mod that allows you to delete all trash. And so it's effectively like you can delete everything. And it's a dangerous mod because you can really mess up your map. But at the same time, it really helps to clean up the clutter and make it so it actually feels like a lived-in place where you've got people that are like trying to take care of the community, pick up trash, stuff like that. I'll show you exactly what I mean in Sanctuary Hills. And I'll tell you as well why it's a kind of a dangerous mod at the same time, so... yeah. Oh, yeah, so, okay. So, just to give you an example here, and I'm going to move away from the radio, because I don't need to any issues with copyright people. If you look around here, so there's all kinds of trash here on the ground and stuff like that. You got grass that's coming up between the pieces of the street. You got just debris strewn everywhere and stuff like that. Little bushes coming up and stuff like that. With this mod, I was able to go in and actually delete like all these piles of leaves and the piles of debris and the boards and the bushes coming up through the street and stuff like that, and turn it into what looks like an actual, like a community where people are trying to rebuild. The problem is you could also destroy the entire road. Yeah, so it's definitely one of those things where it's like it's a little too powerful that you can end up destroying things that you actually want to leave behind. This is definitely the most work I've done on a single location, other than what I did in Hangman Alley, I believe. Where, yeah, I've got my Sanctuary Department of Water and Power here, which is just a combination of, well, in this case, I think it's just this. I wonder where I put the water here. Probably, oh, never mind. There it is right there. But yeah, wonder what this power cable that's flashing here that's no longer working was originally running to. But yeah, I set up this whole defensive structure here. If you can't read that, it says food, water, power, merchants welcome. Yeah. Level 69, nice. But yeah, Helldivers 2 is just so much fun. Most of the time. I will say that I had a mixed experience with this most recent patch. The content patch, I mean, in terms of like the underground combat and stuff, that kind of stuff, that stuff can be really, really rough because there's a lot of subterranean mobs that also burrow underground. And so it's like you'll have these things happen where you like don't even see the enemy coming in, and suddenly there's like 6 of them on top of you slashing at you with claws, and it's like there's just no way to defend against that. Now you can potentially shoot at the ground around where these things are and actually stop them, but in the caves, it's definitely a lot more difficult because it's dark. You don't always see the moving ground and stuff like that. That is a sign that there's something under the ground. But yeah, it can be definitely, it's a very rough, very, very violent experience being inside one of those things. I was doing one mission where we were trying to extract oil, and we lost 20 reinforcements on a single objective. Because, like, basically there's a valve you had to turn. It was inside of a cave, and everyone was getting slaughtered. Oh, no, it's definitely interesting. 100%. And it's something, it adds a lot to the game. And they also added the Hive Lord, which is a giant worm, like something you'd see. The best examples I've got for it are things like the final boss for the first Dead Space. Or it kind of bears a little bit of resemblance to the sandworms in Dune, but not really, only in the fact that it's like a giant worm. But in terms of its behavior, it doesn't seem like it in the slightest. Yeah, again, I was doing a lot of work on this one when I was also working with the console commands to move things around. It's by no means is this my normal experiences with this kind of stuff. Hey, Osborne and Bread 73, good to see you. Hope you've had a good week. Welcome to the stream. I guess it's actually tomorrow in Australia at this point. For me. Let's see here. All right. So yeah, this is, generally speaking, this is actually my favorite settlement to work with is Hangman Alley, because it's a small space that really kind of like forces you to actually utilize the area in a special way to get everything to fit. But again, this is one that I worked on with mods, and so now I've got things like this, where this structure that I removed with that mod is now here. All the beds I installed are gone, which means I'm sure the people here are angry. Update on the guy who's pirating things. His, those 2 videos are down. I think his, oh, jeez Louise, look at that, no beds. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. Oh, and this is, this the... Do I have... Yeah, this character's got the problem where I've got to run that mod that fixes the fact that I can't place beds. I don't know what caused that issue, It seems to have been something maybe with the the updated graphics patch that they released a couple of years ago. At this point, a year and a half ago. I don't remember. Time's been running crazy lately, but basically it made it so that it was impossible for me to ever place beds within settlements. Yeah, Fallout 76 update is a good update in that, from what I've seen. I've not had the time to play that one myself, but from what I've seen, yeah, there's a lot of interesting ways you can place things now to where it can like overlap and everything like that. So, let's see. Sorry, what's good day, mate. So again, the guy who was stealing my stuff, I'm not going to actually list his name unless he decides to come after me for some reason. But yeah, he is no longer doing that, at least as far as I know. Let me take a look here. I can check and see what's going on with his channel at the moment. Because again, it was not just me, and I'm also still not going to say the other people's names because I don't know if they're talking about it or not. But he was stealing from a lot of YouTubers. Oh, jeez. Just accidentally moved away from it. And so I know that 2 of his bigger videos had to come down because they were entirely built using people's footage that were not his own. And one of the YouTubers said that he was actually using his intro that he'd had for his video. No new videos from this guy since that point, so I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, I was going to say, you got to have the apostrophe there. Look at that. All things clearly working properly here. I think these people are probably looking for beds. But again, I would place them, but the actual option is gone from my menu. So I go out of here. It's supposed to be in between structures and decorations, but it's just not there. There is a mod that I have downloaded to fix that. I apparently don't have it currently installed. Or is it I think it might be a tape. Do I have the tape? Let's see if I still have that mod installed or not. Is this the place where yeah, this is where holotapes do pop up. But I don't know if I'm going to remember what it's called. Or again, if I even still have the mod installed or not. But yeah, those videos are gone. And I can check his Twitter/X for it as well to see if he's said anything about it there. But again, unless he decides to try to kick up a fuss, I'm not going to mess with him anymore on this stuff. He hasn't said anything about any of this stuff, so. All right. So if you're just now showing up, announcements I made earlier, the Cass and Mojave Outpost videos, the scripts are both done. The audio has been recorded for both. The audio has been edited for both. I'm currently working on assembling the footage for the Cass video. Should be 27 minutes long when it's fully complete. The Mojave Outpost video I will start working on. Again, I'll start adding the footage in as soon as I'm done with the Cass video. That one I think is 17 minutes long. Something like that. A little bit shorter. Basically, it's one of those things where a little bit we talked about last time. I basically can't assume that you've seen my other lore videos if you're watching one of my lore videos. So I have to basically tell you a little bit of the backstory. And in the case of the Mojave Outpost, I'd say half the video just about is basically giving some of the backstory to what's going on with Mojave Outpost, which is just general background information for Fallout New Vegas. Like specifically talking about the routes into Vegas, the way the caravanning works, the way that the annexation of the Mojave has been going, stuff like that. So there's a good amount of that stuff, but at the same time, yeah, I do talk about all the quests that bring you there. I basically do it as a little bit of a narrative where it's the courier showing up to the outpost, talking to the different to the 2 rangers, to Major Knight, to Sergeant Kilborn, to Lacey the bartender, to Cass. But with Cass, I try to leave it as vague as possible, giving you just a basic general understanding of the character, while leaving the main portion of her information for the specific lore video. So that's what's going on there. Yeah, and I actually do use an excerpt of my script from covering Nipton within that video. Because, again, if the character has to go to Nipton specifically for... I'm trying to remember the name of the quest. It's Ranger Ghost's quest where she has you go check out the smoke she sees rising from Nipton. I can't remember if it's Can You Find It in Your Heart? I think that's the one for Ranger Jackson where you're going to kill the giant ants along the freeway. I also do talk a little bit about, and honestly, the reason why this series of videos has taken me a little bit longer is because there's a little bit of kind of nonsensical lore within the story there that I had to kind of work out in my head, the issues with it. And I've basically listed my problems with the content within the notes on Mojave Outpost. Just general complaints about the way that some of the quests work and stuff like that. Also, it's one of those things where it's like I'm always hesitant to attack New Vegas for quest design, because I know it's one of those things where it's one thing that they did very well, but I do think that it's one of those things as well where they kind of started to run out of time towards the end there, and so they kind of had to throw some things to the side in order to move forward. But I do think it really would have been a great thing if they had included the ability to actually have your actions with the NCRCF and with the death clause on I-15 actually affect the operations at Mojave Outpost. Sorry, my wife just sent me a text. Wow, that is not how you spell started. There we go. Anyway, jeez Louise. I'm being told I have 3 minutes left. Okay, so basically the issues that I have there, all the traffic is stalled at Mojave Outpost because the roads are too dangerous for the caravans to go. I get it. They have to basically make sure that the caravans can actually get to Vegas, and if the roads are too dangerous, they got to shut it down. At the same time, he doesn't have the forces to do anything about the issue because he has to maintain a garrison there. And we're talking in this case about Ranger Jackson, the chief commanding officer of Mojave Outpost. That's great. I think it's a good way to show the issues that the NCR has with this bureaucracy and its red tape that basically make everything more difficult. At the same time, again, once you do something about this stuff, and this is stuff where like there are legitimate there's a legitimate aftermath to it elsewhere in the game. So if you take out the death clause along I-15, the people in Sloan notice, the people in Boulder City notice, because Boulder City can have their concrete plant get back into action because the flow of limestone has started up again because the quarry's in operation. But there's no notice of it at all at Mojave Outpost when there really should be, because basically the two threats that are really keeping the caravans stuck within Mojave Outpost are the breakout of the NCRCF and the death clause. But you can take care of both of those. The death clause is something you basically do yourself. The NCRCF is actually a kind of a weird roundabout quest line that I didn't actually know was a proper quest line until I did it from the Powderganger side of things. And it's one of those weird situations where, like, unless you're willing to kind of go to the morally gray to literally just bad side of things, which like the Powdergangers, obviously there are some Powdergangers that shouldn't be there. But they are prisoners. Like we're talking about criminals here, generally speaking, and a lot of them do belong in prison. But regardless, unless you do some of the basic work where you start working for the Powdergangers, you don't actually get the quest to go in with the NCR and take the prison over. It's kind of weird. Like, you can't just go up to Lieutenant Hayes and join the assault on the prison. You literally have to start working for the Powdergangers to get to it. Yeah. Well, and so again, the issue there, you can take out the Powdergangers, you can take out the death clause, but nothing changes in Mojave Outpost. It should be the case that once those two things are done, Ranger Jackson's like, oh, thank God you cleared the route. We can actually get people moving again. It's like, you are now like grand hero of NCR logistics. You know, something like that. But again, there's nothing about that. There's just no notice of it in the slightest. And then there's just weird things as well, like when you are trying to convince Cass to sell her caravan, and there's the 50 speech option where basically you're just telling her, it's like, look, this is the thing that's keeping you here. You're a caravaner. You can't leave because you're a caravaner. You sell your caravan, you can leave. And she's like, oh, but Ranger Jackson won't let me leave. It's like, I'm walking around. I showed up here. Just put down the caravan and leave with me, but she can't. For some reason, you have to do his quest to kill the giant ants. And again, the giant ants on the highway is like the least of the possible concerns. Now, obviously, that is definitely a concern if we're talking about the caravans shifting their route over to I-95, or not I-95, onto Highway 95. But it's definitely not in any case the biggest issue with traffic flowing on I-15. And I do think it would have been an excellent quest line that would have, especially if they managed it by reputation level, to where it's like if you show up and you basically have no reputation or like very little positive reputation with the NCR, you could do the mission to go kill the ants at the junction of Nipton Road and I-15. And then you come back and you're like a friend of the NCR, and they're like, "Oh, great! Can you go take out the issues in Prim, where we've got the unaffiliated cons, the ones who aren't powder gangers but are still escapees from the NCRCF, who have taken over the town. Can you go clear that issue up?" And you go do that. And they're like, "Okay, can you please go deal with the powder gangers?" And then once you get up to like the idolized with the NCR, it's like, "Okay, can you please go and deal with those death claws?" It's like, now we think you're probably someone who can deal with that situation. You go do that. And I think that would have been a great quest line, but there is no quest line there. So again, it's a disappointment, but at the same time, I do appreciate all the work that they did do making excellent quest lines within Fallout New Vegas. It feels like a missed opportunity there. So anyway, though, I do think I got to close things out here now. My wife is in the other room waiting for me at this point, so I hope you all have had a good week. Again, what I'm looking to get done here is hopefully tomorrow afternoon I can get the cast video out tomorrow evening at the latest. And then after that, sorry, one second, definitely missed. Yeah, no, 100%. After that, I want to get the Mojave Outpost video out by Monday, and then I will start work on the 2 Fallout 4 videos. Again, I've not actually specifically locked in on those just yet, so if you're interested in voting on which one you want to see done, the polls are still open within the Patreon for patrons, and they're open within the Discord on the next lore video page there. So if you're interested in voting on that stuff, go ahead and vote there. And then as soon as I finish the Mojave Outpost video, I will go in and I will pick the 2 that have the most votes from both Patreon and the Discord poll, and I'll move forward with those topics at that point, and I'll tell you what those 2 topics will be by next Friday. So, but again, I hope you all have a good weekend. I hope you all have a good week next week, and I will see you all next Friday, and when we'll talk more about what's going to happen with the Fallout 4 videos this September. So, great to see y'all. Great to hang out with y'all. Have a good weekend.